Ladies and gentlemen, there's a battle raging inside every one of us. It's not the battle against poverty, injustice, or even opposition from others. No, the greatest battle is the one fought within. The battle for control over your mind. The mind is the most powerful tool you have, but it can also be the most destructive. It holds the power to shape your reality, define your identity, and determine your destiny. Yet, when left unchecked, it can become your greatest enemy, sabotaging your potential and leading you down paths of confusion and defeat. The uncontrolled mind is like a city without walls, open to every attack, every influence, and every passing emotion. When you don't take charge of your thoughts, they will take charge of you. They will dictate your actions, shape your habits, and ultimately build a life you never intended to live. You see, the mind is not neutral. It's constantly at work, constantly creating. It can create success or it can create failure. It can build bridges to your dreams or walls that keep you from them. But the direction it takes is determined by one simple question. Are you in control, or is your mind in control of you? Most of us fail to recognize how much power we've given to our thoughts. We think of them as fleeting, harmless, and insignificant, but they are anything but. Every thought you entertain plants a seed, and every seed produces a harvest. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, don't be surprised when your life bears the fruit of defeat. But if you plant seeds of faith, discipline, and purpose, you'll reap a harvest of success and fulfillment. The law of the mind is simple. What you feed it, it magnifies. What you allow to dwell in it, it nurtures. And what you focus on, it expands. The truth is, an uncontrolled mind breeds chaos. It invites fear to take root, allowing insecurity, anger, and self-doubt to thrive. It magnifies problems, diminishes solutions, and creates mountains out of molehills. An uncontrolled mind makes you a slave to your circumstances, a prisoner to your emotions, and a victim of your impulses. But it doesn't have to be this way. You were not designed to be a victim of your thoughts. You were created to be a master of them. The mind is meant to serve you, not sabotage you. It is a tool, not a tyrant. But for it to serve its purpose, it must be trained, disciplined, and renewed. To control your mind, you must first guard what you allow into it. The input determines the output. Your thoughts are shaped by what you see, what you hear, and what you speak. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, fear, and doubt, your mind will reflect those things. But if you surround yourself with truth, purpose, and positivity, your mind will begin to align with those principles. Discipline is the next step. Don't allow every random thought to take root. Challenge them, question them. Ask yourself, does this thought serve my purpose? Does it align with my goals? Does it reflect the truth of who I am? If the answer is no, let it go. Replace it with a thought that builds, not one that destroys. The renewal of the mind is not a one-time event. It is a daily process. It requires intentionality, consistency, and persistence. But as you renew your mind, you will begin to see transformation in every area of your life. You will no longer be swayed by the waves of doubt, insecurity, and fear. Instead, you will stand firm, rooted in purpose, and guided by truth. The battlefield of life begins in the mind. Every victory or defeat you experience in life originates in the mind. If you lose the battle there, you will lose it everywhere else. An uncontrolled mind breeds chaos. It's like an untamed storm, wreaking havoc wherever it goes. When the mind is left unchecked, it begins to distort reality. It magnifies small problems, amplifies fears, and creates confusion where clarity is needed most. This is why so many people feel overwhelmed, not because their circumstances are impossible to handle, but because their minds have turned those circumstances into mountains that seem insurmountable. The uncontrolled mind doesn't just exaggerate the challenges you face. It also paralyzes you with doubt, convincing you that you lack what it takes to overcome them. The truth is, your circumstances don't have the power to control you. What controls you is how your mind interprets those circumstances. Two people can face the same challenge, yet their outcomes can be worlds apart because of how their minds process the situation. One person sees an obstacle and immediately thinks, I can't do this. The other person sees the same obstacle and thinks, how can I conquer this? The circumstances are identical, but the mindset changes everything. When the mind is undisciplined, it often operates from a place of fear. Fear is one of the most destructive forces that an uncontrolled mind can unleash. It tells you to focus on what might go wrong instead of what could go right. It whispers lies about your inadequacies, your failures, and your limitations, drowning out the truth of your potential. Fear doesn't need a real threat to thrive. It only needs an unguarded mind. It sends out a herd of wild animals that drags you down so that you may finally become safe in the grip of heaven. And once it takes root, it spreads, creating a domino effect of insecurity, procrastination, and hopelessness. Doubt is another product of an uncontrolled mind. Doubt is not always loud, sometimes it's subtle. It sneaks in as a quiet question, what if I'm not good enough? It disguises itself as rational caution, convincing you to stay in your comfort zone instead of stepping into your calling. The danger of doubt is that it doesn't just stop you from trying, it stops you from believing. And when you stop believing in your ability, your potential, and your purpose, you've already lost the battle before it even begins. But let me remind you of this. Chaos is not your destiny. You were not designed to live in a state of mental confusion, fear, and doubt. You were created to walk in clarity, confidence, and purpose. And the first step to breaking free from mental chaos is recognizing that you have the power to control your mind. You may not be able to control the events that happen to you, but you can control how you respond to them. You may not be able to change the challenges you face, but you can change the way you think about them. An uncontrolled mind sees failure as the end, but a disciplined mind sees it as a lesson. An uncontrolled mind focuses on problems, but a disciplined mind focuses on solutions. An uncontrolled mind looks for reasons to quit, but a disciplined mind finds reasons to keep going. The choice between chaos and clarity begins with you. The key is intentionality. Don't let your mind wander aimlessly. If you allow your thoughts to drift without direction, they will naturally gravitate toward fear and doubt. Instead, take control. Be deliberate about what you allow your mind to focus on. Fill it with truth, hope, and purpose. Replace every thought of fear with one of faith. Replace every doubt with a declaration of confidence. And replace confusion with clarity by aligning your thoughts with the truth of who you are and what you're capable of achieving. You see, chaos in the mind leads to chaos in life. But when you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. What once felt overwhelming begins to shrink. What once seemed impossible becomes achievable. And what once created fear is now an opportunity to demonstrate courage. It's not your circumstances that control you. It's the way your mind interprets them. Self-mastery is the foundation of success. Until you learn to master your thoughts, you will remain a prisoner to your emotions, habits, and impulses. The greatest victories in life are not won externally, but internally, within the confines of your own mind. It is in the stillness of your thoughts that the seeds of greatness are planted, and it is through discipline that those seeds are nurtured into a harvest of success. Your mindset, without self-mastery, you are like a ship adrift at sea, carried by every wave of circumstance and every wind of emotion, with no anchor to steady you and no compass to guide you. The human mind is a powerful force, capable of creating extraordinary achievements and overcoming incredible odds. Yet, when left undisciplined, it can just as easily become a destructive force, leading to poor decisions, wasted opportunities, and unfulfilled potential. This is because an undisciplined mind operates on impulse rather than intention. It reacts instead of responds, and it allows fleeting emotions to dictate lasting decisions. But true success is not born from impulse. It is born from deliberate and intentional thought, shaped by a mind that is under control. Mastery of the mind begins with awareness. You must first recognize the thoughts that shape your actions and the beliefs that guide your decisions. So many people go through life on autopilot, unaware that their habits, attitudes, and choices are being dictated by thoughts they've never challenged. They find themselves stuck in cycles of frustration and failure, not because they lack ability, but because they have never taken the time to govern their inner world. Once you become aware of your thoughts, the next step is discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the ability to say no to distractions and yes to your purpose. It's the strength to prioritize long-term success over short-term gratification. Discipline in the mind creates discipline in your actions, and disciplined actions create a disciplined life. Without it, success will remain an elusive dream, always out of reach, because you lack the foundation to sustain it. Self-mastery also requires emotional control. Emotions are powerful, and they can either propel you forward or pull you backward. An uncontrolled mind allows emotions to take the driver's seat, leading to irrational decisions and reactive behavior. But when you master your mind, you master your emotions. You learn to feel without being ruled by what you feel. You gain the ability to pause, reflect, and respond in ways that align with your purpose, even when emotions run high. This kind of control doesn't suppress your emotions. It empowers you to use them wisely. Habits are another key area where self-mastery plays a critical role. Habits are the building blocks of success, but they are also the product of your thoughts. If your mind is undisciplined, you will find yourself trapped in habits that work against you instead of for you. But when you take control of your thoughts, you gain the power to shape your habits. You can break free from cycles of procrastination, laziness, and inconsistency, and replace them with habits that build momentum, productivity, and progress. Impulses, too, are tamed by self-mastery. Impulses are fleeting desires that demand immediate attention, often at the expense of long-term goals. They can come in the form of distractions, temptations, or even discouragement. But when you discipline your mind, you gain the strength to resist those impulses. You learn to focus on what truly matters, keeping your eyes fixed on the bigger picture instead of being swayed by momentary urges. The truth is, until you master your thoughts, you will always feel as though life is happening to you rather than through you. You will remain at the mercy of external circumstances, constantly reacting instead of proactively shaping your future. But when you discipline your mind, you take back control. You become the architect of your life, building it with intentionality and purpose. Master your thoughts, and your life will follow suit. What you focus on expands. This is one of the most profound principles that governs the human mind. Whatever you allow your thoughts to dwell on will grow and take root in your life. The mind is like fertile soil. It doesn't discriminate between the seeds of positivity and the seeds of negativity. Whatever you plant in it, it will nurture and multiply. If you sow seeds of fear, doubt, and negativity, your mind will magnify those things until they consume you. But if you plant seeds of faith, purpose, and positivity, they too will grow, producing a life of transformation and progress. The mind magnifies whatever it feeds on. This is why two people can experience the same situation but interpret it in entirely different ways. One person may focus on what went wrong and spiral into despair, while the other focuses on the lesson and uses it as a stepping stone for growth. The difference isn't the circumstance, it's the focus. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Where the focus goes, your energy flows. The more attention you give to something, the larger it becomes in your perception and eventually in your reality. If you allow negativity to dominate your thoughts, you will find yourself trapped in a cycle of self-destruction. Negativity is like a virus that spreads throughout your mind, affecting your attitude, your decisions, and even your relationships. It clouds your judgment and blinds you to opportunities. It convinces you that failure is inevitable, that life is unfair, and that you are powerless to change your circumstances. Over time, this mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You begin to attract the very things you fear, because your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your outcomes. But the reverse is also true. When you focus on purpose and positivity, your mind begins to transform. Purpose gives you direction. It clarifies your goals and aligns your thoughts with your destiny. Positivity, on the other hand, fuels your journey. It gives you the strength to persevere, the courage to take risks, and the resilience to bounce back from setbacks. Together, purpose, and positivity create a mindset of abundance, where you see possibilities instead of limitations, solutions instead of problems, and opportunities instead of obstacles. The key to mastering this principle lies in your ability to choose your focus. You may not be able to control every thought that enters your mind, but you can control which ones you entertain. You can choose to dwell on thoughts that build you up instead of tearing you down. You can choose to focus on what you have instead of what you lack, on what you can do. This intentional shift in focus is not about ignoring reality. It's about reframing it in a way that empowers you rather than defeats you. Your focus also determines the quality of your relationships. If you constantly focus on the flaws of others, you will create an environment of criticism and distrust. But if you focus on their strengths, you will build an atmosphere of encouragement and collaboration. The same is true for how you view yourself. If you fixate on your weaknesses, you will feel inadequate. But if you focus on your potential, you will feel capable and confident. Guarding your focus requires discipline. You must be intentional about what you expose your mind to. What are you reading? What are you watching? Who are you listening to? These inputs shape your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your focus. Surround yourself with environments, people, and content that align with your purpose and fuel your positivity. Eliminate distractions and negativity as much as possible, because whatever you allow into your mind will eventually manifest in your life. Remember, the mind is a magnifier, not a neutral observer. If you dwell on negativity, you will see more reasons to be negative. But if you focus on purpose and positivity, your mind will reveal paths to transformation, growth, and success. The choice is yours, and the power lies in your focus. Your mind is a servant, not a master. This simple truth can revolutionize your life if you grasp its full meaning. The mind, when left undisciplined, becomes a tyrant. It dictates your emotions, controls your decisions, and keeps you at the mercy of fleeting thoughts and impulsive reactions. But when the mind is disciplined and trained, it becomes your greatest ally, a tool that propels you toward your purpose rather than sabotaging it. An uncontrolled mind operates like an unruly dictator, driven by whatever thoughts or emotions happen to arise in the moment. It magnifies fears, clings to doubts, and allows distractions to pull you off course. It prioritizes comfort over growth, convenience over discipline, and pleasure over purpose. Such a mind will make you a slave to your impulses, convincing you that temporary satisfaction is worth sacrificing long-term success. This is why so many people feel stuck. They've allowed their minds to dictate their actions instead of directing their minds to align with their goals. But the truth is, your mind is meant to serve you, not rule over you. It's a tool, not an authority. You have the power to train it, to direct it, and to shape it into a servant of your destiny. However, this doesn't happen by accident. A disciplined mind requires intentional effort. You must take control of your thoughts, guiding them with purpose. You must silence the noise of negativity, refuse the pull of distractions, and consistently align your thinking with the vision you have for your life. Training your mind begins with understanding that every thought has a purpose. Not every thought deserves your attention, and not every emotion demands a response. The uncontrolled mind reacts impulsively, but a disciplined mind responds intentionally. When you master your thoughts, you gain the ability to pause, reflect, and choose your response, rather than being driven by automatic reactions. This creates a space where clarity can replace confusion, and where purpose can override emotion. To train your mind as a servant of your purpose, you must first establish a clear vision for your life. Your vision acts as a filter, helping you determine which thoughts to entertain and which to reject. Ask yourself, does this thought align with my goals? Does it build me up or tear me down? Does it move me closer to my purpose or further away? If a thought doesn't serve your vision, it has no place in your mind. Replace it with one that does. Over time, this practice rewires your thinking, making purpose-driven thoughts your default. Discipline is the second key to mastering your mind. The mind, like a muscle, becomes stronger with consistent training. Each time you choose to reject a negative thought or resist an unhealthy impulse, you're building mental resilience. Each time you focus on solutions instead of problems or persevere through discomfort, you're strengthening your ability to lead your mind instead of being led by it. This doesn't mean the battle is always easy, but it does mean that every step you take toward mental discipline is a step toward greater freedom and success. A disciplined mind also transforms the way you handle challenges. When the mind is your master, obstacles seem insurmountable because your thoughts magnify the difficulty and shrink your capacity to overcome them. But when the mind is your servant, challenges become opportunities. Your thoughts focus on solutions, creativity, and perseverance, empowering you to rise above difficulties instead of being crushed by them. Remember, the uncontrolled mind will always seek the path of least resistance, but the disciplined mind chooses the path of purpose. By training your thoughts, you align your mind with your goals, ensuring that it serves as a vehicle for success rather than a barrier. The uncontrolled mind may be a tyrant, but a trained mind becomes a faithful servant, ready to work tirelessly in pursuit of the vision you've set before it. You must train your thoughts to serve your purpose, not sabotage it. Renewing the mind leads to true freedom. True freedom doesn't come from changing your circumstances, it begins with transforming your thinking. Too many people chase external changes, believing that if they just had a new job, a new relationship, or a new environment, they would finally feel free. But freedom is not an external condition, it is an internal state. Until you break free in your mind, no external change will ever truly satisfy or liberate you. The truth is, your greatest chains are not physical, they are mental. They are the limiting beliefs, fears, and doubts that have taken root in your mind over the years. These mental chains whisper lies that you're not enough, that change is impossible, or that you're destined to stay stuck where you are. These are the silent forces that hold you back, even when everything around you seems to be in your favor. You can have all the opportunities in the world, but if your mind is bound by negativity and defeat, you'll sabotage those opportunities before they can bear fruit. Renewing the mind is the key to breaking these chains. To renew your mind means to change the way you think, to replace old destructive patterns with new empowering ones. It's not just about positive thinking, it's about truthful thinking. Aligning your thoughts with what is real and possible rather than what fear or doubt suggests. It's about choosing to believe in your potential instead of your limitations, in your purpose instead of your excuses. This renewal process doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen passively. It requires intentionality and discipline. It begins with identifying the lies you've been believing and replacing them with truth. Every time a thought arises that says, "I can't do this," you replace it with, "I am capable, and I will find a way." Every time fear tells you to stop, you replace it with courage that urges you to move forward. Over time, these small shifts in thinking lead to a complete transformation in how you view yourself and the world around you. Renewing the mind also requires you to let go of the past. Many people are held captive by regrets, failures, and hurts that happened years ago. They replay those moments over and over in their minds, allowing them to dictate their present and their future. But freedom comes when you choose to release the past and embrace the truth that you are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by what you decide to do next. Then we transform the past in the present, which enables us to truly create a new future. So to every past mess-ups or mistakes, you are held captive by regrets, failures, and hurts that happened years ago. Then we transform the past into the present by embracing today. Renewing your mind means no longer allowing yesterday's pain to rob you of today's potential. As your mind is renewed, you'll begin to see the world differently. Problems that once felt overwhelming will shrink in size because your perspective has changed. Opportunities that you once overlooked will become clear because your mind is no longer clouded by doubt. Relationships will improve because your renewed mindset allows you to approach others with love, understanding, and confidence. Pleasantly, most importantly, you'll find that the freedom you once sought in external circumstances has been within you all along, waiting to be unlocked by a transformed mind. True freedom is not about escaping hardship, but about learning to thrive in spite of it. It's the ability to face challenges with courage, to respond to difficulties with grace, and to live with purpose no matter what life throws at you. This kind of freedom cannot be given or taken away by external circumstances. It is rooted in the renewal of your mind. Remember, every lasting change in life begins with the mind. You cannot break free externally until you first break free internally. When you renew your mind, you unlock the doors to a life of purpose, peace, and true freedom. In conclusion, I want you to understand this truth. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not in the physical realm, but in the battlefield of your mind. The mind is the source of all power and potential. It is the engine that drives your life. When your mind is disciplined, focused, and aligned with purpose, there is no force in the universe that can stop you. But when it is uncontrolled, it will lead you into chaos, confusion, and defeat. Remember, your mind is not your master. It is your servant. You were not created to be ruled by fear, doubt, or negativity. You were designed to be the ruler of your thoughts, to take control of the mind and use it as a tool to fulfill your God-given purpose. The moment you decide to renew your mind, to break free from the chains of old thinking and embrace the truth of who you are, you open the door to true freedom. This is where transformation begins, within you. It is not the circumstances that hold you captive, but the way you choose to interpret them. Your future is shaped by the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. And so, I challenge you today to take responsibility for your thoughts. Take control of your focus. Take charge of your mindset. Feed your mind with purpose, positivity, and the belief that you are capable of achieving the impossible. As you do this, you will see the walls of limitation crumble, and you will step into the destiny that you were always meant to live. Remember, every victory or defeat you experience in life originates in the mind. If you lose the battle there, you will lose it everywhere else. The battlefield of life begins in the mind. So guard it, renew it, and let it serve your highest purpose. Your mind is your greatest ally when you train it to work for you, not against you. And with that, you will find that the life you seek is not some distant dream. It is already within you, waiting to be awakened.